Hey guys, welcome to the Strap Brown channel where I talk about the moves I've made and what I've learned to generate a seven-figure company and really overall better my life from being broke and damn near homeless. But if you are watching, go hit that subscribe button. I'd love to bring you guys more value, and you guys know the more we interact, the more the algorithm picks up and the more people see us. Let's tune in. How I went from $1,800 a month to seven figures. Well, not seven figures. What is it? $150,000 a month. And so at $1,800 a month when I was in college, believe it or not, so I was getting paid by the football team at Fresno State. And then I didn't get a grade that they liked. And so they quit paying me. And I had a kid on the way and I didn't have a way to pay rent. And I think I sold some stuff there and was struggling. I had some money in my bank account. And from there, I went and worked for another guy who I ended up having to drop out of college when my son was born because I couldn't take my son to school, but I could take my son to work, and I got a job working at an investment company with a guy who's like, "Oh yeah, bro, bring your kid." And so I ended up cold calling with my son all the time. I'd drive around with my infant son in the back. I'd have Mojo on the go sitting right here. And I would just drive, and a screen would pop up like, "Hey, John, you're interested in selling your house on 123 Main Street?" And I'd do that, or I'd be pushing my son around Woodward Park here in Fresno, and I would just be looking at the screen, and I'd be cold calling. And I'd just walk around, and I'd cold call for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, trying to get my first quote-unquote wholesale deal. And believe it or not, my first wholesale deal came from a guy whose wife had dementia so bad that he had to quit his job to take care of her full time. It's still to this day, I think, the saddest seller situation I've ever seen. And so we ended up getting it under contract, and we gave him, I think, like $15,000 before escrow just to move out. And then we closed, and then we ended up closing, wholesaled out the whole thing. But that's how I first got started in real estate, and I made $1,500 off of that. And that was like the first deal that I did. And I was like, "Oh, wow, yeah, I made some money." And then I proceeded to work for this other guy, ended up running a lot of the marketing. I had another sales rep I was working with, and then we had our office manager. And then from there, I proceeded to go broke again because I left him. I was like, "Oh, bro, I can do this on my own." And I went to him at the beginning. I was like, "Bro, I want to be you. I don't want to work for you." He's like, "Okay." And so we split ways amicably, right? He's still one of my amazing friends. He'll probably come on the podcast here soon when he's back in town. And I decided to start my own business. I do one deal at the beginning of the year off of driving for dollars. That was $5,000. And I didn't do another deal until August. And in between that, I didn't have any income coming in. I had to go get a job selling online franchise advertising month to month. And I think that was still only like $2,000 a month. My rent was like $1,000. It was something crazy. My rent was a lot of money. And then it got to the point to where my son and I really could only afford to live off of bananas and rice for a couple months at a time. And I had to go donate blood so I could get donate plasma so I could go get marketing money for just to market to sellers to see who wanted to sell. And during that time, I left the franchise job because I felt like it was a scam, and I wanted to go do solar, and everybody was telling me, "Oh, if you go do solar, you'll make a whole lot of money." And so I go do solar. I door knock forever. I don't really make any money. I hated it. And I'd already done door knocking, right? So I was used to it, but I just wasn't happy with it. And so, but eventually I'm doing door knocking. Everything's going good. I'm making a little bit of money hourly. It sucks ass. And I'm knocking dusk till dawn, going into nice white neighborhoods, and people calling the cops on me because I'm door knocking, trying to sell them solar. And the cops come like, "Bro, you know what neighborhood you're in, right?" Like, of course they're going to call me, but keep on going, keep on working, keep on making your money. And from there, I was dead broke. I was all right. I think I'm done with solar. I got so broke that I had to call my mom for $20 to go and pick up my son from Bakersfield because his mom moved down there for work and we weren't together. And so I had to call my mom for $20 to get to Bakersfield from Fresno. And I get to Bakersfield and I get to where I'm picking him up and I ran out of gas and I had to call my mom for another $20. And then the next day, a deal closed for $30,000 or $29,000. And that's what led me to making, at that point in time that year, throughout the rest of the year, I ended up making six figures in wholesale, or maybe just a little short. And then from there, the next year, we took off, started doing deals. We did good in that year. And then the following year, we started another company. And that company now does, well, I'll tell you about how that company got started. I got screwed over for $6,000 by a guy who I thought was my friend, and I knew him and his wife, and they were good friends of mine. And they ended up pretty much just not answering my phone calls and walking with $6,000 from me using a service. And from there, I started another company with a friend of mine. And now, between both of the companies that we have, we do anywhere from $100,000 a month and above. It's pretty wild. It wasn't easy. And I went through a lot. I was dead broke, donated a lot. Me and my son were starving at points of time. And like I said, bananas, rice, and Spam and eggs is like all we ate. We lived next to a Target and like we could get like 10-cent bananas. And so me and my son ate a lot of bananas. It was insane. But how I got there legitimately was straight perseverance. Like just not stopping. My parent, like at a point in time, I did have to get a job, and I was really angry that I had to go get a job. I wasn't happy about it, but me getting a job at least gave me more money to have money to market with. Because I was like, oh man, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't need another job. Blah blah blah. Being really ignorant and young, to where it was the best thing I could ever do. Now I had some money to use to market, and the biggest thing that got us here, I would personally say, is relationships. And building relationships with the right people is what's gotten our companies to grow. The wholesale company now is overhead free, operates. I have one meeting. I have probably not one meeting. It's 3 different meetings with our partners for a cumulative of 45 minutes a week and nothing else. And that business runs. And it on average will do 2 to 4 deals a month. And it's amazing. And it's really nice. And then our other company will do anywhere from 1 to 130 a month. And then we have another little startup company that probably only does like $3,000 a month. But if you're there, if you are dead broke, if you have no money, don't quit. That's legitimately the story of how I got there. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of intricate details in there that you may want to know, but I tell you, send me a DM. If you're struggling with something, send me a message. I got you. I've been through the ringer. I'll probably go through the ringer again and again and again. But the number one thing that got me through it was good personal relationships, and then business relationships has what's helped me scale my companies into things that I'm actually happy with and that aren't pains in my ass all the time. Yes, all 3 of them can be pains in the ass at times, but at least it's not all the time. But go like, subscribe if this brings you any value. If you have any questions, if you're struggling with anything, reach out, comment below, go like and subscribe. I promise you, you got this entrepreneurship game. The entrepreneurship game is hard, man. It's hard. Well, it's hard at the beginning, and then it just turns into a different type of hard because you're trying to develop new skills. But man, it's fucking fun, and you can do whatever you want within reason, right? You still have your companies to run, but at least you don't have to answer to anybody but all of your employees. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.